All right, guys. Today we're going to go over the main ideas for 10.1. Oops. Okay, and this lesson is called the Jacksonian Democracy. So this talks about Jackson becoming president. All right, so new parties emerge. This is from the election of 1824. We left off with the election of 1820. The House of Representatives chose John Quincy Adams over Andrew Jackson as president. Okay. By 1828, the Democratic Republican Party had split into the Democrats and the National Republicans. So this is where we get basically the two parties we have now. Democratic Republican Party was one, and it split into the Democrats and the National Republicans. In the presidential campaign of 1828, both sides used mudslinging, slogans, buttons, and rallies. Highlight these bottom two right here, okay? Because the bottom one has a lot of bell ringer vocab words that we're going to use. And in the second one, knowing whenever that party split up is very important. Okay, so Jackson as president. President Andrew Jackson promised equal protection and equal benefits for all Americans. So now Andrew Jackson is president, just like that's why we're talking about the whole Jacksonian democracy. Jackson fired many federal workers and replaced them with his supporters, a practice called the spoils system. Highlight that one. That's a vocab word for sure. We'll talk more about that when we talk about the vocab word, but spoils system because he wanted to put people that liked him or people who supported him in important offices so that he knew they would support him and basically do what he said. Under Jackson, parties began using nominating conventions at which delegates from the states chose the party's presidential candidate. This allowed more people to help make the choice. Okay, so a nominating convention is basically a bunch of people from the same party get together. So say the Republicans would all get together and they all vote for what person they want to be their candidate for president. Okay, and at this time it was Jackson. So highlight this bottom one too about nominating conventions because that again is another bell ringer vocab word that we will have. Now, the tariff debate. The protective tariff on the European manufactured goods pleased the northeastern factory owners. Sorry, that should say northeastern. But displeased Southerners who feared it would hurt their cotton trade. Okay, so basically what a tariff is a tax or on imported goods and exported goods. Basically makes it harder to trade with Europe. All right, so that made it harder for the Southerners to get stuff out because Europe would have to pay a higher tax to get it in and out of the United States. Now, Vice President John C. Calhoun supported states' rights, included a state's right to nullify a federal law that was not in its best interest. Okay. President Andrew Jackson believed in a strong union and feared the nullification would destroy the nation. So these two going back and forth leads to what is called the nullification crisis. All right, so the nullification crisis of 1832 to 1833 began when South Carolina nullified or invalidated the Tariff Acts of 1828 and 1832. Then South Carolina believed that these acts favored northern manufacturers over southern agricultural industries and were therefore unconstitutional. Vice President John C. Calhoun agreed with South Carolina. He believed that the states had the right to block federal laws. A state, according to Calhoun, only had to obey a federal law if it was declared an amendment to the Constitution and was passed by 3/4 of the states. So his argument is that unless it's in the Constitution or an amendment to the Constitution, the states have the right to disagree with it or not follow that law. President Andrew Jackson did not agree. In 1833, Henry Clay helped draft a compromise that would lower tariffs. The compromise Tariff of 1833 was accepted by South Carolina and ended the nullification crisis. So what's a compromise? One side gives up a little, both sides give up something to kind of meet in the middle. And that's what happened here. They lowered the tariffs, but didn't get rid of them completely. And this is a political cartoon, talks about the nullification crisis, seeing what all this leads up to, that the nullification down here at the bottom leads to the South Carolina Ordinance, which would lead to treason, then to a civil war, then to deception, then to disunion, and as despotism being the king or the crown there. So they're saying without the nullification, none of this other stuff happens. That's the base of everything. Okay, and so that's all the notes for today. Make sure you read, make sure you watch the President Andrew Jackson video. You can start on Vocab Builder. You can start on Learn Smart Module 10. But go ahead and read 10.2 after this so you know what is going on there. If you have any questions, let me know. If not, you can work on those other two things.